Yes, hello, welcome into a new series here on 11am Sports. It's a one season challenge, and our first one season challenge is going to be with Sheffield United. Now, I know you may be asking, what is a one season challenge? Well, a one season challenge is almost exactly as it sounds. It's a challenge I've set myself over the course of one series with a club. And this first one season challenge we're going to have is with Sheffield United. And the one season challenge we have is to attempt to avoid relegation. In real life, Sheffield United finished bottom of the English Premiership. We are going to try and not get relegated with them. I know what you might be thinking. That seems fairly easy. But remember, this is the team that did come last in the Premiership. So, or the English Premier League, however you want to call it. So in theory, this is the worst team in the league, at least in real life. So hopefully we can do enough, whether it be a couple of signings here or there, or change the tactics slightly, to not to be relegated and finish out of that relegation zone. Preferably, I look for a top half finish at Sheffield United like they did last year. But we'll see if we can achieve that. There'll be a series of one season challenges on the channel over the next few weeks. Some of them will be like this, attempt to avoid relegation with a team that was relegated. Some of them will be trying to win a league title with a team that maybe didn't, that should have, or something along those lines. They'll be slightly different each time around a variety of different leagues across, I'll be honest, Europe. I was going to say the world, but it's across Europe, the ones I have in my mind. Maybe it'll be across the world at some point. So yes, this is the first one season challenge, as I said, with Sheffield United. And look, I've even got myself all dressed up for the occasion. I've even bought a Sheffield United strip with the horrible logo that the horrible sponsor that they have on it this season. It was not a good sponsor. I'm not sure why they accepted that sponsorship money for the front of the kit. It's really not very nice. But yeah, Sheffield United is the first one. We're going to attempt to avoid relegation. Really would like to try to get top half if we could. And you never know, maybe a cup win as well. That would be nice indeed. But anyway, welcome in to the first one season challenge here on 11am Sports. So here we are, announced as the manager of Sheffield United here in our first one season challenge, appointed as the new manager of Sheffield United, the Blades, trying to keep them up and realistically trying to push for a top 10. Let's see if we can do that in this one season challenge. I've raised the bar already, we've not even started. Top 10 is what we're looking for here with Sheffield United. Let's see if we can do it. We'll work our way through. Remember, last season we finished ninth. We were knocked out, we entered the third round of the FA Cup. I thought that's what we said, we got knocked out last year. I wasn't sure about that. Our media prediction is 14th position. I say we finished ninth last year. You say we play at Bramall Lane, built in 1855. I'm sure it's been updated since then. 32,000 capacity for anyone that doesn't know much about Sheffield United. They were promoted up to the Premier League last season, finishing ninth in their first season back in the Premier League. And this season, they were relegated in real life. We'll see if we can keep them up. And realistically, we want to try and get a top 10 finish. Sheffield United are famous for their overlapping centre-backs when they first came up into the English Premier League last season. You had Baldock and Stevens giving lots of width, and whoever was on the right-hand side of the centre-backs and the left-hand side would often overlap. I think it was Egan who's normally on the right-hand side, wasn't it? And Bashman left would kind of overlap these wing-backs. It was a very interesting system with that very solid midfield who would kind of sit back slightly more with two strikers up front. Very interesting system. Didn't work so well this year, unfortunately for them. But we'll see if we stick with that system or if we change it about slightly. I think I'd like to try this system. Maybe not the overlapping centre-back system, but stay with a kind of 3-5-2 sort of system, or 5-3-2. Maybe have some other options kind of up my sleeve just in case they're required. Our loan obligations include loaning in Ethan Ampadu, who I think is a very, very solid player. Obviously played quite well for Wales during the Euros before he got his sending off in that last game, and there's lots of outgoing loans. But mainly, I say, Ethan Ampadu could be quite an important player as the loan obligation in we have from Chelsea. Looking at the best 11, Ramsdale and goal, obviously part of the England setup. Basham and Egan, I like it centre-back. Baldock and Stevens, I enjoy them at full-back. Bears, Lundstrom, Fleck, solid midfield. Nothing really fancy in terms of creativity, but very solid midfield. McGoldrick and Musa up front, they say. There's also Ollie McBurney. As a Scotland fan, I know Ollie McBurney all too well, unfortunately. And also they just signed for, I think it was a club record fee, Reece Brewster from Liverpool. For a 20 odd million pound, or sorry, not Reece, Ryan, there it is down the bottom there, Ryan Brewster for 20 odd million pounds, and he really didn't do what Sheffield United were hoping he would do this season. Billy Sharp as well as one of our club captain here. He came up through the different leagues with Sheffield United, and he's up here with us in the Premier League. I'm not sure how much he's going to play for us. We've got a few options up there, but we'll see when we get into the squad. So I know we're only here for a year, but these are what the expectations are for the club to play possession football, which is good because I like playing possession-based football. Make the most of set pieces, which is good because you should always make the most of set pieces, and to develop young players using the youth system. I think that is what we would do should we have been in this for a little bit longer than 1 year. They would like us to avoid relegation, which I think is possible to do. Obviously, we want to get top half, so of course we think it's going to do that. Reach the 5th round of the FA Cup and reach the 4th round of the Carabao Cup, and they would like a top half finish over the next 3 years. We want to do it this year, though. Let's see if we can. So here we are. I take the hot seat, and we get our first list of lovely emails to read, which I don't know if I'm going to be doing right at this moment. Instead, I'm going to introduce everybody to the squad. We've got just over a page worth of squad, including Reece Norrington Davis, who is out on loan at Stoke. So at the moment, I'm going to move him to the under-23 so he doesn't get in my way. And Luke Freeman, who is out on loan at Nottingham Forest. He's the 3-star player, so I'm wondering why he's not in the squad. Let's see if the rest of them make up for that. You know, maybe they're better than 3-star players. We've got a full page now. We've got rid of those two. So let's see what we're working with. Starting with the goalkeepers. Aaron Ramsdale will be our first choice keeper, I imagine. I've not checked the other two yet, but he was the first choice in real life, so I imagine he'll be the first choice for us. 3.5-star player as a sweeper keeper. He's got some nice stats there, actually. Valued at £13.5 million. We signed it for 18.5 off of Bournemouth. So he started for Sheffield United. I never realised this when he was younger. Got sold to Bournemouth, and then we bought him back. An interesting piece of business for Sheffield United, certainly there. Obviously, Bournemouth got relegated to the Championship, and Sheffield United brought him in after Dean Henderson went back to Manchester United. Yeah, nice solid goalkeeper there. His backups are 30-year-old Simon Moore, who looks alright for a backup. He was the first choice keeper the season they were in League One, and then became backup. Looks a decent enough backup keeper. And Wes Foderingham, another backup keeper, who I know from his time at Rangers, signed on a free transfer as the third choice keeper, I imagine. So we've got a couple of right backs in the squad, including George Baldock, who will be the first choice right back. You imagine he can also play at right wing back, 3.5-star player, some nice stats, nice physicals, nice mentals. Technicals are alright as well, actually, kind of all around the 13 mark. A very average, that's a horrible thing to say, but just nothing really jumping off the page at me, but a very solid player playing at right back. Arrived when they were in the Championship a couple of years ago and played very well, I must say, in his first season at right back in the Premiership. Hopefully he can do that for us in this second season. His backup appears to be young Jayden Bogle, who looks like he might have a bright future ahead of him. Signed for £6 million from Derby County to be offer a kind of challenge there to Baldock at right back. Not quite as well developed in terms of technicals or mentals. Physicals are alright as well. Just all in all, not quite as good as Baldock. On the left-hand side, you've got Enda Stevens here, 30-year-old left back. Again, another kind of very well-rounded player, can play left back or left wing back. Been here for a few years, coming through the Championship and into the Premiership. He's backed up by Max Lowe as one of the other options at left back. Signed him from Derby. We'd signed two wing backs from Derby County, and they just sit as a backup at Sheffield. No wonder Sheffield United didn't do very well in the league in real life this season if they were signing players from Derby to act as their kind of backup players in the Premier Division. They should be They should really be looking for players better than the current right left back they have, rather than bringing in backup players. And another backup left back can also play centre back is Keane Bryan. He's been at Sheffield for a while, not really played, so I don't imagine you'll get to see much of him. Another player can play on the left hand side also, centre back is Jack Robinson. I'm not quite sure what side you might see him. He was signed for £500,000 from Nottingham Forest last year. Didn't play a lot of games, probably a backup option for us. And now some names you might recognise. Phil Jagielka, he's 37. I can't imagine he's going to be playing much for us. He has arrived for a free after leaving the club 12, 13 years ago to go to Everton for £4 million. He's come back to finish his career at the club he started at. He's just not very good. Someone who's a little bit better than that is John Egan, a no-nonsense centre back. It looks like he plays. Some nice mental stats. Physicals are okay. Technicals for defending, heading, marking, tackling are all right. Again, nothing that special though, but a 3.5-star player. Been at Sheffield for a while, and hopefully he'll be one of the three. I imagine if we play three centre back, I imagine he'll be one of them. Another centre back who can play left back if you need him, it looks like, is Jack O'Connell. Again, 3.5-star player. Good physicals, good mentals. Technicals are alright, including heading, 15, marking, 14, tackling, 15. Slightly better than the last one we looked at. He's been at Sheffield United for a while, joining with them in League One and working his way up with them through the different leagues. I think O'Connell could be quite a good player. Another good player who can play at the back or in midfield is Chris Basham, 3.5-star player. Physicals are starting to decline. He's 32 years of age. Nice mental stats though. He's heading 13, marking 14, tackling 14. All right as well. Again, nothing really exciting, nothing especially amazing, but a solid player. He's been at Sheffield for quite a long time, coming all the way up from League One. And Ethan Ampadu is a little bit something more exciting. You see his physicals are okay, his mentals are alright, and his technicals, tackling 15, marking 14, heading is only 11. He can play in defence or in midfield. I think he could be quite an important player in the squad. He will develop. He's only 19 years of age. We've got him in on loan from Chelsea. I think he could be quite exciting. If he played this safe for more than one season, he would develop a lot. Not sure he's going to do that when he's here, just for this 1 year, but he could be part of the team. Looking forward into more of the midfield areas, Jack Rodwell's an option. I mean, his career really went downhill, didn't it? Started at Everton, did really well, bought by Man City, never played, went to Sunderland, wasn't really that great either, and he's just kind of dropped down the divisions and somehow he's found himself at Sheffield United, and he's just not very good. I don't even know why he's here. He's got 3 England caps, that makes things even more crazy. Other midfield options include Oliver Norwood here, who's just a very well-rounded player. Again, nothing particularly special, but nice and well-rounded. Arrived for £2 million from Brighton within the Championship a couple of years ago. Played every game last season. Looks as if he could be an important midfield player for us. Alongside him, John Lundstrom's a very good player as well. 13 million is worth, he says, but 3.5-star player, again, well-rounded, nothing particularly special, but that sort of workman-like player I was talking about they have in the midfield. Nothing, technically amazing, but really a lot of kind of good ball winners and box-to-box, that sort of player. Example of perhaps one more technically gifted player is Sander Berg here, who they signed for £22 million from Genk halfway through last season to play in midfield. Much more of a creator. Can see he's got nice physicals, nice mentals. His technicals can maybe do with improving slightly to be a creator, but they're not too bad. I'm sure he'll improve. 20 years of age, the Norwegian centre midfield player. He could be very exciting indeed. Someone perhaps slightly less exciting who'll almost certainly be working as a box-to-box or someone kind of deep line is John Fleck. 28 years of age. He's played a few times for Scotland. As a Scotland fan, I know far too much about John Fleck. I don't think he's that good in particularly. I really don't. I'm not quite sure how he's managed to get himself into an English Premier League side, but he's been at Sheffield United for quite a few seasons, starting in League One and working his way up. He appeared to be quite an important member of the team, but I imagine Berg might going to take over from him, and we'll have players like Norwood and Lundstrom alongside Berg, but Fleck will be a very good backup in there. Ben Osborne is a player who can play on the wing or in central midfield. Again, not particularly brilliant. He's a 3-star player. He arrived for £3.5 million and didn't really play that much last season for them. Again, I'm not sure how much to see of him. He's not particularly amazing. Going further forward, Ollie Butt can play out in the wings, but we don't really play with wingers. He can also play up front if he has to, but he's not particularly good at it. He's good physical stats, but his finishing's 11. He doesn't have much technical skill or mentals, to be honest. Again, one of these players, I'm not quite sure why for £4 million they bought him. Leipzig signed him from Forest a long time ago and he scored 1 goal in 25 games. Not their best signing ever. West Brom signed him for £15 million, did not work. Loaned him to Celtic where it didn't really work. He was out on loan in Spain where it didn't really work. To be honest, he's not that good. And that's probably why he's not going to be playing for us. And we've got 5 other kind of main striking options. The first one being David McGoldrick, the Irishman. He looks a nice, well-rounded player. He's 32 years old, so he's going to start declining. You can see he's played for Sheffield United for a few years after playing for Ipswich. Only got 2 goals in the Premiership last year, but he scored 15 in the Championship the year before. And he could be one of the starting strikers for us. One who I really don't want to be a starting striker for us is Ollie McBurney here. You can see he's wanted by transfer for some other teams. I might let him go, to be honest, if we get the right offer. £17 million they paid for him off of Swansea. I'm not sure why. Maybe the fact he scored 22 goals in the Championship. I don't know how he's done that. I've never seen him score a goal in my life. He only got 6 in the Prem last year, and I don't imagine he'll be scoring many more than that for us this year. Lys Mousset here, who I must say, I prefer to look at him. He's got nice physical stats, 6 foot tall, nice mental, some alright technical stats in there. He arrived from Bournemouth for £10 million last year. Played 30 games, got 6 goals. Again, there's no one really prolific in this Sheffield United side. That was perhaps one of their problems this season in real life when they were relegated. Didn't really score a lot of goals, unfortunately. He was previously at Bournemouth in the Premier and again didn't score many goals. It could be a problem that none of our strikers score goals. Somebody who did score goals in different levels of the game was Billy Sharp. He's 34 years of age now, a well-known player at the club. You see, he had a spell back in the late 2000s when they were playing in the Championship. Left, came back for £500,000 and scored lots of goals in League One over the 2 seasons, 21 and 30. Scored 13 and 23 winning the Championship, but didn't really score many when they were playing in the Premiership, unfortunately. Probably not going to be sold because he's 34 years old. He's not going to get sold. There's a chance that he maybe starts to score some goals. He's the best finisher so far with 15, but he's only going to decline, unfortunately, because of his age. And someone who, in theory, should only improve is Ryan Brewster. Now, he was signed for £18 million. I'm sure that was up to 20 odd million when I saw the deal from Liverpool, which was surprising, seeing as he had only played in the Championship for Swansea, scored 10 and 20 before that and hadn't really played before. His finishing is 16, which is apparently the best out of any of them. So in theory, he should be starting up front for us. 3-star player, potential of up to 5 stars, got some nice physicals, nice mentals. Could maybe do with improving some of his technicals alongside that finishing, which is 16, which is good. We'll see how he does, but I imagine he might be one of our starting strikers, especially since he's on £40,000 a week, which is a lot more than most of the other players in the team. And somehow he's only classed as a squad player. Interesting when your most paid player is only classed as a squad player. So that is a wee introduction to this squad. I'm going to go away now and have a look and see what system we're going to play. It's probably going to be that 5-3-2 formation because we don't really have any wingers. I'll see what transfers we might do. There might be some out. Someone like an Ollie Buck and an Ollie McBurney are already wanted by teams. So we'll see if we can maybe sell them, make some money and maybe bring some other attacking options in. Because that's, I think, going to be the main problem here for Sheffield United. I think defensively they're fairly solid. The midfield's fairly strong. There's a couple of, maybe could do with another piece for some depth. Who knows? But certainly up front there's lots of options, but none of them are amazing. So maybe if we can bring in that big name striker, that would really help out. I wonder how true this is, if maybe it's because I've not went through some stuff, but apparently we only have a budget of £1 million for transfers, which would mean there would definitely have to be some outs before we bring any ins. So you have that to look forward to in the next episode. As I say, I'm going to work out a tactic for this team, maybe make some subs, and we'll have a look at our first league game of the season, which is what? Up against Everton on the 12th of September. So I've got about 6 weeks in the game to go to see what I can do up to then. Now, obviously, this season was technically affected by COVID, that word that we can't really say. So the transfer window runs until October the 5th. So it runs quite late. So it's probably not going to be a transfer special in the next episode because it might run on a little bit more into the season. But there might be some transfers by then. So if you are looking forward to this series, the start of a new series, come on, I think it's deserving of a like. Go on, give us a like if you are looking forward to this. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The perfect time to do it. This series is just starting and you can follow it on in its entirety. It's only going to last for one season, so there's not going to be 145 episodes like the Kelly Boys. There's probably just going to be somewhere around 10-ish episodes. I'm not sure exactly. We'll see how many games we have that are important to show. So as I say, a perfect time to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave the video a like for the start of a new series. And until the next one, where we'll tell you some transfers we've made and show you the game against Everton, we'll see you then.